Before we start, I just want to say this episode comes with literally zero credentials. I am not a licensed therapist and I'm not trying to be a life coach or anything. I barely read instruction manuals when I get new furniture or new toys or whatever, and I build them as I go, and I kind of look at the picture and say, yeah, that looks right. That is my credential. But I do have opinions, a lot of them maybe. And unfortunately, I've had a lot of time to think. Social media kind of makes it seem that everyone has everything figured out. Like they have courses to do this in your life and courses to succeed here and frameworks for that. And this is the morning routine that's going to help you succeed in life. Now, I'm not hating on that at all. I'm just kind of saying I don't think it's very realistic for everyone to have the same opinion or the same footsteps going forward, if that makes sense. I think most of us are kind of forming opinions as we go, kind of like a trial and error kind of thing, experiences and life lessons that we just learned from messing up sometimes or from doing something right. Yeah, this episode's going to be a little bit about my unqualified opinions, maybe some lessons that I've learned but I still ignore sometimes, and also some advice that I've been giving that I know is right but I still sometimes, I don't know if forget is the right word, just sometimes choose to ignore. So yeah, this episode is going to be kind of centered around that. Unqualified opinions that I haven't fact checked really, and maybe some realizations that might not age well and I might not agree with in a year or so or 5 years from now. But I think that's kind of the goal in life, is to just constantly be evolving emotionally, mentally, and as a person, right? If you're looking for expert guidance, this is not the place. This is just me diving into my experience as a human. And if you're also winging adulthood, questioning everything and just kind of learning as you go and learning from your mistakes and from others, this might be the episode for you. This is episode 4, unfolding my journey on forming opinions before I have the answers. Before we get into the episode, I just want to say thank you again to everyone who's been watching and listening and just supporting with the likes and the follows and all of that. Please keep doing that if you can. I think around 97% of you aren't subscribed. I've had more viewers but less subscribers compared to that, so totally get it if you don't want to, but if you can and if you like the episodes, please subscribe. I would appreciate that. Also, if you're listening on Spotify, and you can just click on those 3 little buttons next to the podcast name, Paths Unfolding My Journey. You can also rate it 5 stars if you'd like. Now, let's get back to the episode, and I apologize in advance. My hair does look like a mess. I'm getting a haircut tomorrow. It is what it is. And also, my upstairs neighbor, she speaks really loud. It seems sometimes like she's arguing or yelling, and she's doing that right now. I can't control it, so if you hear her, my apologies. I don't know what's going on. Just know they're not arguing. That's just how they speak. So yeah, today's episode, it's kind of going to be like me going on mini rants because I kind of got tired of the whole this is my life and I'm going to expose everything. It's been very stressful, honestly, doing that. And I appreciate everyone who's been reaching out and just telling me how much they appreciate that I'm sharing my stories and that I'm putting this out there and how I'm feeling. That's been a big support for me to continue doing this, because every episode I release, it's kind of like, I don't know, dropping a bomb out there, I feel like. And I don't even share a lot of information, but for me, it's just very weird to be very personal with my phone and whoever's watching it. At the same time, I'm super happy that it's already helped some people, or it's helping some people, and some people are really interested in the podcast. So that's why I continue doing it. But this last week, I kind of felt like maybe that was it for me and I couldn't do any more episodes. And I have this thing that I struggle with all the time, and with anything that I pick up doing, like hobby wise, if I'm not perfect at it in the beginning, if I'm not immediately good at it, I tend to give up so easily and so fast, which makes no sense, because obviously if you're a beginner, if you're just starting something, you're not going to be good at it in the beginning. You're literally a beginner for a reason. But I just can't understand that in my mind. If I'm not immediately good at something, I'm like, okay, I'm done with this. I'm not gonna do it, because I'm afraid of the failure at the end, I guess, the rejection I might get at the end of it. And that kind of happened with episode 3. I felt like it wasn't perfect. I felt like it wasn't exactly what I wanted to put out there or what I had envisioned in my mind. And I still posted it, and it was late, and I was just very, very bothered, very frustrated. So I was like, okay, I'm going to just end it here. And then I had a lot of support throughout the week over, hanging out with friends and support and text messages just telling me like, hey, your podcast is you're doing amazing. And I hope you continue to post and everything. And I was like, wow, okay. It was just a good reminder for me to be like, not my only critic, if that makes sense. Because sometimes I will say, oh, I'm doing bad, I'm the worst at this. But then other people are like, wait, you're actually doing really good. I don't say that in like a way of like, oh yeah, I feel good about myself, like I'm conceited. No, I say it in a way of like, it just helps me feel like I'm not failing. And it helps me feel, because we can be our hardest judges. Our most critical, hardest judge could be ourselves. And I realized that. And so I'm thankful to everyone who's been reaching out and telling me how much they're enjoying the podcast, because honestly, it's helped me want to continue it. And now I come here sitting in front of my phone and this microphone recording episode 4, knowing there's 3 more episodes left, and I'm excited again. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm actually excited for next week because there's a surprise for you guys. But anyway, that kind of goes to my first opinion, that most people aren't lazy. I think they're just exhausted. I just think we throw around the word lazy too casually. Like if somebody is not constantly being productive, we just assume they're being lazy, or we just assume they don't care enough. But honestly, most people that I know aren't lazy. They're just tired. They're tired emotionally. They're socially tired. They're mentally tired. It's just a level of exhaustion that we are constantly living in because this world never seems to shut off. Notifications just keep on going. They never stop. Expectations never stop. Even when you want to have like a rest day or a mental health day, you feel like you need to do so many things, like you need to follow so many rules in order to have a successful one. There's just a constant level of prerequisites, I feel like, if that's a word. I don't know if that's the right word, but just a level of you need to constantly be doing something, and it can be exhausting. So yeah, maybe you're not lazy. Your mind, your body, your brain's just asking you to take a break, and you just don't know how to take one without feeling guilty. I feel like that all the time because honestly, I confuse my burnouts with just simply being tired. Sometimes I'm so tired. You guys have no idea. My schedule is actually insane. And now with the podcast even more, because I work, I film, I edit, I work again. So like my filming days are actually crazy. Like today I had to wake up extra early so I can film because I hadn't had time to film all week. And it's Thursday and I post this afternoon. So now after I film, I have to go to work for a little bit, come home, edit right here. This is my location where I edit. That's why I'm posting here, guys. And I'm covering, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm covering my shelves here because they're a mess with my suitcase and my Pokemon frame. The point I was trying to make before is that I can get really busy and sometimes I feel like I'm burning out because I don't have any more energy. I don't want to talk to anyone. I'm just done with everything and everyone. And then I stay in bed doom scrolling and I think of myself as lazy, but I'm not lazy. I just need a break. And I think one thing I do is a lot to take my break is travel. When I travel, I get to enjoy, I get to relax. I still kind of work when I'm traveling because I always have my laptop with me and my phone, but at least I have some sort of control over not feeling guilty that I'm away on a trip because I'm still working, but still enjoying my vacation and my break. Insert picture here of me working while in Puerto Rico. Guys, I'm a mess. But yeah, I just think laziness is just a word we throw around too casually. People deserve breaks and they deserve to not feel guilty over it. Also, I don't have my iPad today because it's not charged. So I'm kind of just trying to remember all my notes from the top of my head, which kind of goes to my next point about having our lives put together. I think it's really just mainly for aesthetics. Because we can have a super organized, productive calendar. We can have a super clean apartment and a super clean car and everything, which is important. I'm not saying we shouldn't do these things. I do value everything. I value when I clean my apartment. I value when I clean my car. I value having a organized and productive calendar because it helps me function. But I do think that even though I have that, underneath, I'm still confused, I'm still stressed, I still have the same unanswered questions. It's like 70% of our life is just looking organized, and then the other 30% is really just our confusion. So it's okay to feel like you don't have everything figured out, because honestly, everyone's just spiraling. The whole world is spiraling. So you're not the only one. I'm not the only one. Some people just kind of make it look aesthetic as they spiral, which is cool, because it helps with the mental part of it, the emotional part of it, of being like, yeah, I'm really going through it right now, but at least my room looks good. At least my car's clean. At least my calendar is showing me that I'm doing stuff. And that's what we need, right? The presentation part is actually what matters. Sometimes in school, in a project, you see the worst information ever in a presentation, but the presentation itself was so good. You're like, wow, that was really good. What are you feeding me here? It's all looks. It's all looks, no content, no. But at the same time, you're like, wait, that was good, because that's what it is. It's just aesthetics. It's just pleasing to the eye. The other thing that I was thinking about is how annoying healing actually is. So I know my first episode is about healing, and I love my healing journey. I really do. But I also see it as a huge inconvenience in my life, and I see it as something that's so tiring. And it seems like everyone online just tries to make it seem like the soft, beautiful journey that we're all going through, which is true. It is beautiful and stuff, but it's also very irritating at times. It's so tiring. It's so stress inducing. It's so aggravating. I feel like everything's just made out to kind of fit an aesthetic theme, an aesthetic process, but it's really not at all. Sure, journal and drink water and get some exercise in, and suddenly everything's gonna be fine. No, it's not. It's not that at all. Those are amazing things to do. I promote all those things myself. I do them all myself, but I also acknowledge how annoying it is to be like, oh wait, I have to drink water, or oh wait, I have to go to the gym. Oh wait, I have to go do this. Because you're constantly having to keep your mind awake and keep your mind fed. It's so tiring and annoying and inconvenient. But I think that's what real healing is, when you're uncomfortable, when you're annoyed, when you're messing with your routines and realizing that old things that used to work maybe don't work anymore. You need to find new patterns, a new schedule. Most of the time you have to lose the comfort before you gain any, and you have to start feeling emotions that you've been really good at blocking or hiding, and that is hard in itself. So if your healing journey just feels kind of messy and disruptive, I think you're doing it right. I think you're on the right path. So don't worry about it. We're all going through that. Again, unqualified opinion. But you're probably doing it right. Ooh, another one that I just thought of is I can't believe I almost forgot this one, but this point when I was writing down in my notes of what are my opinions, I think that most people don't really know who they are. They just know who they've been rewarded for being. Oh my God, I don't know if that makes sense to you guys. But basically what I'm trying to say is that I don't think most of us struggle with identity because we're lost. I just think we struggle because we've been praised for versions of ourselves that were just convenient for other people. Maybe you were the smart one in your family, or the funny one in your friend group, or the adventurous one, the risk taker. So you get praised for being that. And at a certain point, you're like, wait, is that who I am? Because after a while, you just start performing that version of yourself, even if it's not who you are anymore. So I do think that figuring out who we are, or who I am, has been more of a journey of not knowing who I am, but just understanding that it's not about reinventing myself, which I didn't understand that before, but now I do. It's really about unlearning who you thought you had to be in order to be accepted. Guys, I think I cooked with that one. But yeah, again, unqualified opinion, that's what I think. And then another one, I was thinking if I should mention this or not, because I'm on social media and I'm posting this, but I do think that being constantly perceived can be mentally and emotionally tiring and exhausting. Think about it. Posting constantly, performing for everyone, having to constantly explain yourself, it can be really tiring. I'm constantly wondering how I come across to other people who are listening or watching this. And sometimes when I'm not even filming or performing online, I'm just kind of thinking to myself, wait, is that who I really am? Or am I just trying to put on an act of who I want to be? And most of the times I try to be my authentic self as much as I can. But sometimes I do put on a performance. Sometimes I like there's parts in certain episodes where I filmed where I was a lot more sad than I expressed, and I was a lot more happy sometimes than I pretended to be, because it's kind of like part of the performance, part of the relating story or sharing an experience. So I get it, but at the same time, when no one's watching, sometimes you kind of forget who you are, because you're, and it's not only on social media, but just in life in general. Because when you're alone, you're like, wait, who am I? I'm not performing for anyone right now. I can be myself. Who is that? And again, it's not about reinventing. It's just about, okay, I'm not going to be rewarded for how I act. How do I want to act? Right? Does that make sense? And one important thing that I am kind of learning is that not every thought has to be a caption, and not every moment needs an audience. That is something really crucial that I'm learning, because I love to share everything with everyone sometimes, especially online. But I don't think privacy is really about hiding. It's just about resting, if that makes sense. I just think we all kind of need a little bit of more space to exist without feeling like we're always being evaluated. That's my take on that. I mean, as far as those being my unqualified opinions, it is what it is, and I'll probably look back in a few years and be like, wait, why was I even thinking like that? That was dumb. Or I don't know, maybe I'll look back and be like, yeah, I kind of understand that even more now. But one thing I am looking forward to is looking back and seeing the advice that I've gotten that I didn't pay attention to in the moment, but later I kind of see how it makes sense, and advice I know is right, but I don't always listen to. The first one being, don't compare yourself to others. I know it's so cliche and everyone says it, but it's so true. I know it's it's not good. It's not good to compare yourself to others, but sometimes I can't help it. Sometimes I am just scrolling online and I see somebody my age getting married, or somebody my age getting a promotion or traveling, and I'm just comparing my life, and I'm not doing any of that really. I'm just working. And I know a lot of people say, well, you have this and you do that. Yeah, but sometimes it doesn't feel like it's enough, because I'm comparing myself to others. I get it. I shouldn't be doing it. Sometimes it motivates me to want to do more, and I see it as a good thing. Sometimes too much comparison can kill, because everyone's situation is different. My situation is different from everyone that exists, because I'm unique. I'm my own person, and everyone has their own story, and everyone has their own upbringing, everyone has their own journeys and everything. But I understand that, but it's actually really hard to put into play. I think that goes back to us being our worst critics, because I am my worst critic. I am my worst judge. I judge everything I do. I criticize everything I do, and it makes me want to do things better. But then it also exhausts me to the point where I feel like I can't do it better, and so I just give up. And that's why a lot of the projects I start, I just end up giving up, because I just compare myself to others who are way better at it, but they've also been doing it for so long sometimes. And we just can sometimes be so blinded by the good that everyone shows that we forget that everyone actually has some bad experiences and some bad hiccups, and life is just a roller coaster, and we're all just living, we're all just riding through. So we're all going to have ups and downs. And even if somebody has no downs, what does that have to do with me? I'm just trying to stick to that mentality, because that's great for them. I'm not jealous, and I don't envy it. I'm more mad at myself, because I know I can do it. It frustrates me. The comparison just frustrates me, because I know I can do certain things. I know that I can be successful, that I can achieve what I want, because I have before, but it makes me feel like I have no control when I start comparing, and it makes me feel like just disappointed in myself. And I guess it goes with my self-worth and everything. It's a hard struggle not to compare myself to others and to continue putting myself down. I think comparison can be good when you use it as motivation, as like, oh, hey, look, I can do that too. Let me get motivated. But I think a lot of the times I kind of villainize myself and then get upset with myself, because I see myself as some monster. I see myself as someone weak, or someone dumb or lazy. And it frustrates me, because I know that's not who I am. But at the same time, I'm like, well, if it's not who I am, then how come I haven't reached that thing that I'm comparing to? But as I've heard many times before, it's all about trusting the process, which is another advice. And I kind of said it last week too, and I was like, and that's okay, because it's all about just trusting the process. And it's funny because I do trust the process. I do believe everything happens for a reason. If we allow ourselves to learn from everything that happens, and we can just trust that the process, and we can trust that everything's going to work out. But it's so hard. It's so hard to do because I'm impatient, and I am constantly questioning everything about my life and like why things happen the way that they happen. And so I tend to overthink and spiral, and then I don't end up trusting the process. But in reality, like I do, I do allow myself to be molded by my life experiences, by others' life experiences, and by what I learn from others. And I want to say I trust the process, but a lot of the times I get so like overridden by overthinking and anxiety that I start trying to take things like into my own hands, and that's when I mess up, and that's when I fail, and that's when I stumble, and that's when I fall, because I think that I can have control over my own life, when in reality I don't think. Yes, we all have some sort of control over our life and our actions, but things are going to happen because they're going to happen. They're just, things happen, so it's really just about trusting the process. I get that. I think I need to work more on that. I know that it's right. I know that that's true. But it's hard to show your faith in moments when you can't see something. Like if somebody tells you, oh, it's going to be super sunny outside today, but then you go outside and you kind of see like some gray clouds, you start doubting and you're like, well, I don't think it's going to be sunny outside because all I see is gray clouds. Later in the day, those gray clouds disappear and the sun comes out. I know that's happened to like many people because that happens to me all the time. Like, oh, I think it's going to rain today. They said it was going to be sunny, and then it ends up being like super hot and sunny outside. It's the same thing with life. We just kind of have to trust the process, think in the future rather than now, because I'll give the example with me going to the gym. Like I've been going to the gym and I'm trying to be consistent. And at some point I kind of just plateaued where I didn't see any more change. I didn't see anything. I haven't really seen anything, but I keep thinking to myself, in order to keep me motivated, in order to keep me going, I just keep thinking to myself, okay, well, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, are you going to look back and see the change? Yeah, you will, because you're not going to see it in the moment. You just have to kind of trust that process and know that in the future, you're going to see it. And so that's kind of what I'm like working on right now, is just knowing that hopefully by the summertime, I'll be more content with how I look. I'll feel more comfortable in my skin. I'll feel healthier and I'll be happier because I know that I have accomplished something, because those 3 months, those 6 months are still going to pass no matter what. But what did I decide to do with that time? Did I trust the process and continue forcing myself to do the things that I wanted to, or did I just give up? And then those 3 months, 6 months are going to pass and I'm going to look back and say, wow, I didn't do anything. I didn't really trust that anything was going to happen. So nothing happened. And that's kind of the mentality that I'm working on. But it's really hard, I'm going to be honest, because it's a battle against yourself and your desire to control and want to do everything now. We have to be very patient. And I know that, and I'm working on that. And then the other thing, if you know me, you know that I barely sleep. I know everyone tells me you need to sleep more. Sleep fixes everything. Sleep is going to fix so much. Sleep and drink water. I do sleep. I mean, I sleep when my body asks me to sleep. Sometimes I'm really tired, so I'll go to bed at the other day I went to bed at 10 and I woke up at 7 in the morning feeling super refreshed. But then yesterday I went to bed at 3 and then I woke up at 7 for the gym and I was kind of tired, but I was like, yeah, my day has to get started. And so obviously I was tired in moments throughout the day, but then when I came to bed to sleep, I couldn't sleep. I was like, yeah, I can't. And so I went to bed, I think around 1 in the morning. And yeah, I woke up at 7 because I have to work and do everything, go to the gym and whatever. But I don't know. And some days, I'm not going to lie, I sleep for 12 hours. I'll go to bed at 8 p.m. and I'll wake up at 8 the next day. Or sometimes at 12. Sometimes I've slept until 12, which is crazy for me. I rarely do that, but when I do it, I know it's because my body needs it. So I know I should have a better sleeping schedule, and I know I should be taking care of myself more and like my sleep and everything. And I'm gonna try. I really am trying, but it's just hard. It's just hard when you have a lot of things on your mind. Sometimes I lay down, a bunch of things just start coming up. I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do that. And so I just forget to sleep. And I just start listening to music. Music helps me a lot to just tone out all those thoughts, and just I start singing, I start humming, I start kind of like vibing, or and then I'll play YouTube. I'll watch a lot of YouTubers because comedy just helps me like laugh and forget about things. And so then I get like tied into that, and then I don't sleep. But once I turn that off, then I just go to bed with a clearer mind. I just feel so much better. I just feel so much better. I can just knock out. So yeah, I think the point of all this is just kind of that knowing better doesn't always mean you're doing better. So it's important to actually be doing the things that we're like want, the advice we get. It's important to actually be applying it rather than just keeping it as stored information. Car is not going to turn on unless you drive it. Oh my God, actually Kerry Washington, I saw this interview. She once said, you know, she said, I pray that I catch the bus every morning and then I run after the bus, because if I miss the bus, then I know that bus wasn't meant for me. I was like, wait, what? The more I thought about that, I actually because a lot of the times we know this stuff, and we ask, sometimes we'll pray. Like I'll pray sometimes for certain things that I want, or some certain things that I need, like to get fixed, like either emotionally or like just in my life, and then I won't do anything about it. Like that's not how it works. We're given the strength in order to continue to keep going on, to keep moving forward, and to keep surviving. So when I heard Kerry Washington say that, I really resonated with it, because I get it. She's like, I'm gonna pray I catch that bus, and I'm gonna run as fast as I can after it, because if I make it, then I know that bus was for me, and I did it. And yes, if I don't make it, I'll catch the next one, because that wasn't meant for me. That's so amazing. That's so cool. I don't know if that came across as understandable, but yeah, knowing better doesn't always mean you're doing better. So it's important to apply what you know, and apply what you learn, and apply what advice you're given in order to do better. And as a last segment that I wanted to do in this episode is talk about things that I thought would feel different. Success doesn't always feel like arrival. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm super successful, whatever, but I am very comfortable. I am very proud of what I've been able to accomplish. But every time that I've been able to accomplish something, or successfully finish something, or successfully sell something, it doesn't always seem like, well, it never really seems like, okay, I've done it, I've arrived, I'm done. It kind of just seems like the start of something much bigger. There is some gratification in that moment where you feel proud of yourself, where I felt proud of myself, where I feel, wow, I did this, I overcame this, I was able to accomplish this, and that's amazing. But at the same time, then I start thinking, okay, what's next? And not in like a materialistic way of, okay, I need to sell more, I need to do more, I need to make more money. More in a way of like challenging myself, and more in a way of just wanting something new, wanting something that fulfills me, which is so interesting, because a lot of the times you hear growing up, well, money doesn't mean happiness. And you see it right now in like Hollywood culture and celebrity and society, that having money and fame does not mean happiness, does not equal happiness. And in a lot of the times in music and in films where artists and are able to express themselves, you see how sad and lonely people are. And a lot of the times now, a lot of social media influencers and celebrities are coming out with their mental health struggles, because money doesn't buy happiness. It really doesn't. I think money can provide peacefulness. I think money can provide some sort of peace to an extent, because you're not worried about your financial situation, which I know is a big burden and a big stress inducer for a lot of people. But it doesn't buy happiness. I think success is measured by the love you feel around you, not by how much you have in your bank account or in your wallet. And a lot of the times people forget that. People think that if I have this much money, if I have this much properties, if I have this much success, then I'm going to feel good. You generally don't. What is that TikTok phrase? Genuine key? Genuinely, low-key don't. Um, I'm so brain rot, you guys. I'm so done. So I think it's important to have a good foundation of your family and your friends and people you love around. You're rich because you have love. You're rich because you have peace, not because you have money. So yeah, success does not identify you as a person. I think it can be a good virtue to have and a good fun experience to obviously be proud of yourself, but it does not define your happiness. It does not define the love you feel in your life, and it does not make you less lonely. It doesn't feel like a rival. It just feels like the start of the next stage most of the times, the start of the next chapter in order to succeed something else. So yeah, that's something I thought would feel different. I thought once I made a certain amount or sold a certain amount or got to a certain position that I would feel so happy, and most of the times I didn't. I just felt more overwhelmed, more pressure, and to do more. And I learned that I maybe valued success a little bit too much and who I was. And yeah, now I see it a little bit differently. Now I think success is cool, success is fun, and I aim for success, but I don't make it my life, if that makes sense. And then another big one is independence doesn't feel freeing all the time. I don't know if many of you know, but I moved out 2025. I actually live by myself now. I love my independence. I love living alone. It's an experience that I wouldn't trade for the world, having moved out, and I just love it. I love that I got to experience it. I love that I had the opportunity to do so. I love that I had the opportunity to learn how to live by myself, learn how to function by myself, and survive in a world alone by myself. And it came with a lot of independence. I don't think it's freeing all the time because most of the times I found myself just going back to my family's house and hanging out with my mom or hanging out with my siblings, or my parents, my mom, my stepdad, and my cousins, or inviting friends over. So I was like, yeah, I moved out because I wanted that independence and I wanted to feel good about myself. But at the same time, when I'm alone, well, not all the time, sometimes I found myself when I was alone that I wanted to be with people. So I would invite friends over, and invite my brother over, my sisters over. We'd have sleepovers. My sisters would put face masks on me, and we'd go to Five Below and just get stuff. It's just a fun experience that I got to experience, but I do recognize it doesn't feel freeing all the time. Sometimes it feels like I'm trapped. Sometimes it felt like I was alone and trapped in a room and in an apartment, and I was like, now what? So again, I think it just goes back to making sure you fill your life with people you love, your family, your friends, people who value you, who put you in a respectable place in their life, who put you in a place of value, in a place where they will reach out to you, so that way you don't feel alone. So, but yeah, independence can lead to a lot of loneliness rather than freeness. And I'm glad that I learned that. I'm happy I learned that. And lastly, I want to say confidence doesn't mean you have no doubt. I've been working a lot on my confidence, and I think there's certain points where I feel like I have it, but then I start doubting myself and I say, oh man, I lost all my confidence. No, I think a big part of having confidence is you doubt yourself a little bit. You doubt yourself when you think you're going to do something wrong. You doubt yourself when you think something's not going right. And so you have to change courses or you have to change mentalities. But I think that's all about confidence, is when you doubt yourself, you're able to then think it, process it, kind of analyze it. And then if you need to change, if you need to pivot really quickly, then you're confident enough to pivot, and you're confident enough and strong enough and brave enough to just change courses if you need to. That was kind of my little blurbs on today. I hope it was a little bit more lighthearted, a little bit more fun. The world right now is just so hateful, so scary sometimes. Just wanted to kind of, share my thoughts as an unqualified human being sharing opinions. But one thing I'm learning is that growth doesn't always come with having the right answers, just really with being willing to hold your opinions loosely. And some of the things I said today I might cringe at later, I might laugh at. Some of them I might stand by my whole life, and some I might completely outgrow. But I think that's kind of the whole point. I don't think we're meant to know exactly how our life is supposed to go right off the bat on the first try. I think we're supposed to update as we go. Phones update. So how much more do we need to update as we go and as we learn and as we experience new things? Just continue updating our opinions and our thoughts and our mentality to a more positive and a more centered thinking. Somewhere along the way, I think people started thinking that changing our minds was some sort of weakness, some sort of failure, but I think it's really just a demonstration of growth and a demonstration of paying attention and allowing yourself being strong enough to grow and to change and to constantly be a revolving door of like emotions and thoughts, because you're letting the right things come in and then you're pushing out whatever you need to push out. So if you're listening and you're thinking, I don't have anything figured out yet, you're not a failure. I'm not a failure. We're all going through that. That's just us being in motion and living life. Guys, this week's song of the week is going to be from the one, the only Benito, Bad Bunny, or should I say Grammy Album of the Year, Grammy Award winning artist. So yeah, this week's song of the week is going to be DTMF, Debí Tirar Más Fotos by Bad Bunny. Reason being, he just won a Grammy, the first Spanish language album to ever win a Grammy for Album of the Year with a Spanish artist. Are you kidding me? That's so cool. I love how much art has an influence in culture and society, so it was just really nice seeing that being represented on the Grammy stage. And he's going to be playing the Super Bowl this Sunday, so obviously I had to shout him out. These are 2 big weeks for him. I'm super happy. Please listen to the Debí Tirar Más Fotos album if you guys haven't yet. I think it's a really well-rounded album. And shout out to Bad Bunny because he did that. And yeah, new location unlocked. This is my setup where I edit most of the time my videos and my music. I know I don't put out a lot of music, but I do edit a lot of music. I think I have maybe 3 albums worth of songs that I maybe will one day allow see the light of day. We will see what happens. I do have that in the future plans, but this is kind of my setup when I do that. I have all my toys behind me, my Spider-Man, my Pokemon, my Kirby's, because they keep me going because they're so cute. Oh, and I have Bob the Minion back there too. They're just funny to look at and just a reminder that it's okay to kind of be childish like sometimes. Yeah, they just help me be a little bit more calm when I'm editing and kind of battling myself with like thoughts of like being a failure. I just kind of look at them and I'm like, it's not that serious. Anyway, guys, these are my unqualified opinions for today. No expertise, just thoughts from where I'm standing right now. And if they change in the future, it probably means I'm doing something right. So that concludes episode 4, unfolding my journey on forming opinions before having the answers. I will see you guys next Thursday and stay tuned for a cool, very, very cool surprise. See you then.